Macro Chat Live Show. Look who's in the Look who's in the house.
Hello.
Welcome, Micael.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm so happy to have you. So we have Micael Widell, and he is from Sweden. So thank you so much for coming to the show. And it is a premiere. So we're going to dive into you. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do a little bit of pre-stuff just for people that have never been to the show. So let me just go through that real quick, and then we'll dive into you. So Micael, this is a macro, micro, and close-up live chat show. But since Micael is in Sweden, we are doing a premiere, which is very cool. That means that I am in the chat. So if you guys have questions, just chat away over in the chat. And this is October 3rd. This will be going on live October 3rd. So thank you so much for showing up. You're going to have a blast. It is 1 hour. And what we're going to do is really going to dive in to micro. You know, this is going to be hard for me. Micael and micro. Well, I always say that 3 times. So let's go ahead and watch a real quick video of our sponsor, and then we'll really get into Micael.
All right.
The Macro Chat Live Show is brought to you by SJP's membership program, a membership program for macro and landscape photographers. The membership program will work on your journey. We have monthly challenges, live calls, bonuses, and live workshops for you to attend. To see more details, head on to membership.sullivanjphotography.com. Check out our 14-day free trial.
I'm drinking water. I told him, hey, it's a chilled, drink whatever you want. It's a total chilled show. Caught me.
I'm having both water and coffee.
Yeah, that's what I had too. I had some coffee, and now I finished that. So now it's down into the water scene. But yeah, Micael, you know, I have to tell you, I found you in YouTube, and I just love your videos. I've been following you. Did you know that I was following you? So we will talk, of course, about your YouTube, because you are just amazing on YouTube for sure. And we've got some really beautiful photographs. But one of the reasons that I love to have guests, I have a guest once a month, and you are for the month of October. And so I just really love to find out more details on you guys. Like, you know, we're going to start off with, how did you get into photography? And I really want to hear your journey from where you started to like where you're at today.
Yeah. So, let me try to summarize this in a not too long way. Actually, I am a bit of a beginner in photography. I've only been doing it like actively, as in several hours a week, for like 3 years. So I'm not really like a long time photographer. I think if we are to try to trace the roots of my interest in photography, I think it was when I installed Instagram, like 2012 or something like that. And I discovered for the first time in my life that I was kind of able to take photos with the filters in Instagram that I was happy with. Like before, I think I had been like curious about photography, but I never imagined that I could take photos that I would like. Mm-hmm. And then it was mostly Instagram for many years. And then I've been doing a lot of different things in my life. My last big thing was I started an e-commerce company in Sweden, which became a pretty big company with over 100 employees. And I was the chief technical officer there. So I've been doing a lot of software engineering in my life, and I still do. Mm-hmm. Anyways, it was a lot of hard work. And around 2015, 4 years ago, I decided to like step down to do something else. The company was fine without me, and I wanted to explore something new. So I decided I'm going to become a non-fiction writer. I'm going to write books. That was my idea back then. And I started writing a book, and I kind of slowly discovered that it is not as much fun as I thought it would be, because what I did was I took these walks like in the middle of the day to clear my head, and I started bringing an old camera for fun. And that is, I think, when I started discovering that I really like photography, like with the camera as well. And then like 3 years ago, I decided to buy a serious system camera. And ever since then, I've been completely obsessed with photography and macro photography, maybe above all else. So, yeah.
Wow. That's amazing to me. I had no idea. Now, I do know about your past because when I do these searches, I look at everything, and I knew that you were a very successful person, but I didn't know that until after I started, I said, I like the way he teaches on YouTube. And I've never had someone on just specifically, usually what happens is I go do some searching and I see the images on, website or something like that. And it wasn't like that with you. With you, it was like, wow, he really does. He's very passionate about his craft and he's very passionate about sharing. And I thought that was really interesting of you to really sit down and have these amazing, techniques, and you do video. So how did you learn the video scene? Because wait, we're talking photography. That's another aspect.
Actually, that was another thing. I've always thought that I couldn't do, like edit video, and also I always had the idea before I started doing it for real that it is boring and really hard and cumbersome. But like in the beginning of my photography career, like 3 years ago, I tried to find ways to kind of make photography into something that I could earn money from in some way, to like start some kind of career in photography. And I knew I did not want to do like wedding photography or event photography, like the obvious things, because I don't find that kind of photography fun. What I find fun is just to walk around with my camera and take pictures. So I desperately tried to find a way to make money doing this, walking around with my camera, taking pictures and trying lenses and stuff. That is what I find fun about photography. And so I did a Kickstarter on a photo book that I thought that this is going to be the way I earn money. And then Kickstarter has like a requirement. You have to make a video to present your project. So I kind of had to learn to edit a video. And that is when I discovered that it is actually pretty simple to edit video, and it is super fun. So I think that was probably the Kickstarter campaign did not go well at all. But what I got from it was the idea to start a YouTube channel about photography, because I thought maybe that could be a way to earn money from just walking around taking photos, to actually videotape it.
Yeah. That's something really awesome to tell people. So because we all try different things, and if it doesn't work, just know that it could lead to something else. At least you're out there trying. I think I love that, because a lot of photographers get stagnant. We'll talk a little bit about how you keep going, but it's just that's something really awesome to know about you, is that even though your book didn't go, it led you off to another path that you're very successful at. But what I want to do is I want to share your screen, and I will ask these questions. We're going to go ahead and share Instagram, which I know is really big. And here's your Instagram feed. But I have to tell you, though, I just don't like Instagram when I share things, because look at how beautiful this is. And look at how small this image is. It's Instagram. I don't know. I know it's the thing, but for me, it has a hard time. Now, right now, people are only seeing your images. They're not seeing you and me. But what I want to do is, like, you have I highly recommend. Here's Micael on Instagram. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to your 500 pics also, because those are bigger and we can really see them, because I would love to know your thought process while you're photographing. So when you're out there with your camera, I'm going to share images. If you find something you want to just specifically talk about, then go for it. But I would love to know while you have your camera, your thought process. And if they watch your YouTube, they're going to know, but this is for our show. Some people don't know who you are, and I'm excited to share them with you. You with them.
So I think there are a lot of different ways to approach photography, and I think you should find a way that works for you and that is enjoyable for you. And for me, what I find enjoyable is to just take a lens, take a camera. I like to vary the lenses and cameras I use a lot because that adds another dimension. And then I just go out with one lens, one camera, and I like to have no idea at all often what I'm going to photograph. I like to find things. I like to, and that is especially fun with macro photography, of course, because then, like when I go out with a macro lens in the forest, I have never have any idea what I'm going to find. And that is what makes it so fun, to just discover these small things. And like I've discovered so many insects that I didn't know existed. So that I think is a big part of the fun in photography for me. And then when I approach an insect, then I think what takes over is the urge to try to make an image that I myself find beautiful. That is kind of my end goal. I like to create photos that look aesthetically pleasing. And I don't always succeed, but when I find an image like good enough that I kind of like it a bit, I usually post it online just to see what other people think. So that is like a brief summary, I think, of my process.
So so this is awesome. Now, look at how this is interesting. Do you even know what this bug is? I mean, look at the colors on that.
I had to actually ask my Instagram followers, what is this? And then someone said it's a cuckoo wasp. So then I learned
Wow, you're like, oh my gosh, I was next to a wasp.
But that's what's so fun. It's like, I think macro photography is even more fun when you don't know anything about insects like me, because then you get to discover so much.
Yeah, true. I love to see things that, and this is interesting too. I want to tell you this. I love this photograph, and usually we're always shooting for the eyes. But I think the way because you've set this composition up, and this is so sharp in here that it doesn't bug me. Usually I'm like, I always tell my students, always show the eyes. But this one, the way the composition is very soft, you really get the feel of the shell is hard. It's a trip. So I really love this photograph, and I wanted to say how much I enjoyed it, because it is different and it's successful. We have all these rules about photography, and I always say to break them too, but you got to know why. This one, I could tell that you really wanted us to see this right in here, which we don't really see often. But let me talk about your post-processing. What do you do when it comes to your post? Oh, I could make it bigger. I didn't even know that.
So when I've been out photographing some macro, I usually come home with maybe 500-600 photos, like at least 300 usually frames. So what I do first is I load them into Lightroom CC. Lightroom Classic actually. I'm using, it's called. And then I do like 2 passes. The first pass, I remove like 90% of the photos. I remove all the ones that I don't immediately like. There is a guy called Derek Sivers, and he has this saying that either hell yeah or no. And I like to apply that to photography. If I don't feel hell yeah about a photo, I delete it immediately. Because either way, I will end up with many photos still after the first pass. And then I make a second pass, and if I have like 2 or 3 or 4 variants of the same photo that I kind of like, I force myself to decide on one of them. And then in the end, after reviewing all the 500 or so photos, maybe I have 5 or 10 left, usually, that I like a lot. And all the other ones I have already deleted. So because I don't have like space to store all of them, and I don't have time to like go through them later if I try to look for some photo. I just want the best ones. And then after that, I usually do some pretty light editing. Sometimes I tweak the colors to make them look cooler, but usually it's mostly I crop and maybe I lift the shadows a bit, or I decrease the highlights if they are too harsh. But I almost never use the clone stamp or do any heavy editing on my photos.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You have a great eye. You definitely have your eye is really good. But, another thing too that you're saying, and I love that you bring your family involved. I feel like I know your wife and your son. He's so cute. Oh my gosh, he's adorable. So here's a close-up one. This one's gorgeous. No. So on this, okay, let me talk about post-processing on this one. This one, do you remember kind of what you did on this one? Because I just love the colors.
Actually, I do remember, because this is a bit of an odd case where I actually tweaked the colors quite a bit. I am pretty sure that the original image is not that purple in the background, but actually, the nice thing with me recording all my photo walks and posting them on YouTube is you can go back, and if you find the video where I think this is video where I first go out with the Venus Optics 60mm macro lens, you can see me take these photos, so you can actually see how the scene looked. And I think I probably tweaked the colors to make the background more purple, to make it more interesting, and to make a contrast with these leaves in the foreground.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, you did it. It definitely is just gorgeous. It just gets your eyes for sure. Let's just do a close-up of your son. Yeah, your son's older. Oh, Dad, look at how cute he is. I can't help it. He's so cute. Oh my gosh.
I also think he's cute, but I am kind of partial, I guess.
Look at this one. Okay, it's a close-up, guys. It's a close-up. Oh my God. That's perfect for this age, this era or whatever. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm sorry, but that's cute. Oh, here, look at how, see, it's just, I could go, let's just go into, there's so many. Let's just go in here while we talk. Okay, so usually I come back to me, but I'm curious. Let's just go into the next question then. So where do you come up with your inspiration? We'll go back to us later, but I want to share some of your images still. So if you get a lot of people, they'll get bored, and what do you do to keep yourself going when you're in that lull of I don't know what to do next type thing?
Great question. I have several things that I try. One go-to thing I do is that we have a great photography museum here in Sweden called Fotografiska, and I have actually like a card there, so I can go there how much I want because I pay a yearly fee. And they always have new exhibitions with all kinds of photography, and very often that triggers something in me when I see some great photographers and their work, and even if it is a completely different genre, usually I get ideas or like new thoughts in my head. But other than that, another thing that I do a lot is that I love trying new gear, and often old gear as well. I love making my own like macro lenses out of like the reverse some old vintage lens and put it on extension tubes, stuff like that. Because when I go out with a completely new lens that I haven't used before, that kind of forces me out of my comfort zone a bit, and I have to be a bit more creative than I am normally. And even if the first like 15 minutes don't feel that fun, they trigger something in me, and I get a lot of new inspiration when I learn to master that new lens. Let's see what else. Another tip another thing that I do sometimes when nothing else works is that I give myself a challenge. I do something else that is inconvenient. For example, I force myself to go out and only shoot black and white macro photos for an hour. And when you're in that zone where you don't have any inspiration at all, that is the last thing you want to do. You don't want to make it harder for yourself. Yes. But if you force yourself to do it, I find it very often works. Change something. That is my best tip, I think. That's
awesome. That's great. And I have to say that you and AD would make a great team. He has tons of vintage stuff. After the show, you guys are going to be all.
That sounds great.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Look at this one. Oh, my gosh. That's beautiful. Okay. Wow. 3 years. Wow. That is so awesome that you found what you love to do. And, it's great that you took the chance and just said, you know what, I'm going to leave. We could go back to us now, AD, so we could chat a little bit. It's nice that you had the successful job and you said, okay, this is I could see that with you work hard to get to the challenge that you're working for. And then you're like, okay, I've done this challenge. It's time to move forward. And I see that in you, especially with what you had done before, very successful company, and then now very successful YouTube. And what we also, you're pretty big on, I noticed when we look at your social later on, you are so nice and you comment back to everyone. How do you find the time to do all that? Because you're big on 500 and Instagram and YouTube. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's actually, that's a lot. That's awesome.
But I think, first of all, I like to be helpful. And like for the first 2 or 3 years of my photography career, within air quotes, I didn't get a lot of attention for my photos or anything. It was actually when my YouTube started growing fast that I got people actually commenting and asking questions. So I think when you have gone that long without anyone noticing your work, when people finally start noticing it and asking questions, then it's a lot of fun to answer, I think. And also when people comment on YouTube and on Instagram or message me on Instagram, that is where I get a lot of really good ideas for photography projects or for videos to make. So like actually now I feel I need these comments to continue doing stuff.
Right. And I could tell that you're a very helpful person and that you care about helping people, which is really amazing. And I was just like, wow, he's really on it, which they will see too. So what we're going to do now, let me see. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go into the critique. And so what we'll do is we'll have a critique, and then I have a question for you, and then we'll chat a little bit of other things. So let's go ahead and get into the critique section. Hold on one second. There we are. Oh, shit, wait. I messed up. I'm sorry. Okay, hold on. Now, wait. Here we go. Hey, I told you it was not perfect. Janice always screws up. AZ's got it down, but I always screw up. I was supposed to have this image up for you and for everybody to see. And then, of course, I'm moving things around. I'm clicking it off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read off what Sammy, this is from Sammy G, because I already sent this to Michael, so he's already had this. So let me read to everyone else what she said for this image, and then you and I will chat about it. So she shot this at f11 at 1/60th of a second, and her ISO was 100. She used a 90 millimeter Tamron. She said her goal with this image was to get as much detail of the sea pods as I could. She used a ring flash on camera to shoot at deep depth of field. So she was trying to get, Janice. She was trying to get, I'm laughing at myself. So if you could help her with a little bit, she's trying to get some details in here, and she went to black and white. So do you have any suggestions for her on this image?
First of all, I gotta say, I think it's a really nice image. I mean, a lot of things are right here. I think it's perfectly exposed. It is pretty detailed, I would say, and I think it's a nice subject, and I think it works in black and white. I can see some areas that are not perfectly sharp. Yeah. And I mean, if she shot it at f11, you cannot do a lot more in terms of aperture because you would get diffraction. So I think the only thing, like if I were to try to take such a picture and try to get it really, really perfect, really, really detailed in all places, I think maybe the solution is to do focus stacking. Maybe you need to have a macro rail and take several exposures and stack them together.
Yeah.
So I think this is probably maybe as good as you can get it with a single exposure. Maybe she could have tried to have the foreground parts in focus, but then the side would not be in focus. So yeah, it's a hard balance to strike.
Yeah, for sure. there's a lot of depth in here, and if she's getting really close, we know as macro photographers it could be difficult. But I do like it too. I like her composition. I like her lighting. I totally agree with you. If she wanted to really get the details that she says she was shooting for, I think the only thing that she could have done was just do some stacking, because look at how beautiful this is in here.
Yeah.
And so she has I was looking at it, certain areas are like, this is in focus back in here. So she has to bring it forward, and shoot here. But yeah, so I agree totally with you. And I really like it. I like this subject. I like things that when we get up close, you don't realize that, to me, it's like little protection, for it's something, and looks like veins and life. So that, and it does look good in black and white. Like you were saying, hey, go out there and shoot some black and white, get out of the color scene. So, well, awesome. Thank you. Now, we'll go back to us, because we will answer this question, because this is so funny that we're talking about this. It says, so this is from Jack McCarthy. Mm-hmm. And he has a question for you. He says, these pin sharp, all in focus macro photos you see on internet, I have seen these where the ant drinks water, stunning photo, and all super sharp in focus. Is it possible? And what would the ideal setting be on your camera for outdoor macro photography for this example? Is it one shot or multiple shots, also stacked? So he's asking questions about that kind of stuff.
Oh, do we have the picture he was talking about, or
no?
Or do we have to,
he's just had like a general idea. I don't think he has anything like this, but he's interested. It sounds to me that Jack, no, I could be saying his name wrong. It's JACQUES, Jock. I don't know, Jack.
I think it might be a French name, but I'm not really that good in French. I don't know. I cannot help it.
I'm sorry if I butchered it. I'm really bad.
Sure.
Yeah, there you go, Jacques Cousteau.
Yeah.
So I think it's what it is that he wants to shoot ants. It looks like from how they're drinking water, and he wants to do it. He just doesn't know how to do it because he sees these pin sharp. And so since you're outdoors a lot, he was wondering if, what would you do, or how have you ever done,
when I hear this question, I get a few thoughts in my head. I've heard that you can put out some kind of how do you pronounce it, syrup or something, like something sugary or water with sugar in it to attract ants. But I haven't tried it myself. So that could be something to look into. And I think also, unfortunately, for the ant, a lot of these shots where you are really, really up close to an ant are probably dead ants that someone has focus stacked to get them super sharp. Because if anyone who has tried to photograph a live ant knows that they move around quite a lot. So it's kind of impossible almost to focus stack an ant that is alive. But I mean, as you can see in some of my photos, you can get at least half the ant in focus with a single shot, but not much more than that.
Yeah, I did see some of. I think you have a couple ants. They're not drinking water. Let's go to this one, AD. See, like in this one, it doesn't have a water, but look, it's all you have it sharp. So if it was drinking water, you would have
at least the head is sharp.
And, right. And then you could get the water, but I really do like your idea of like maybe putting some something sugary, maybe to let them sit there for a little bit. Oh my gosh, I love this one. I have to see. This is what I hate about Instagram. Look at how small. You can't even see this.
This is actually something, this is a whole discussion in itself, but I also kind of hate that there is not a single site to post photos that is really good. Like I use 500px on Instagram, but I don't really like any of them that much. So I'm waiting for someone to create a really good photo sharing site.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And I used to back in the days get into Flickr, and I stopped that, and I have my I have stuff on a website now for portfolio, but it would be nice to have a good, like you're saying, a good sharing for us photographers that really. This would be great. If they could just make this go to a large, it would be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, Instagram, listen to us, photographers. Okay. Well, that's awesome. I just wanted to share it. So that's a great question. Thank you so much, Jock. So it would be more of a, you'd have to really focus on that water, and probably if you want stacked, like Michael was saying, that put some sugar water or something, maybe it'll stop there for a little bit.
Maybe prepare a scene indoors at your desk or something with a small pool of sugary water, and then bring in an ant or something. I think that is the way I would go about it.
Yeah, that's a great idea, to bring it in for sure. Okay, you know what? It's one of my favorite things. It's equipment time. So we're going to do a little segment, and then we're going to talk about your equipment. So do you have anything that you'd like to share to the camera, or anything close to you that you would like to share that is your favorites?
Yeah. Are we talking lenses or cameras?
Whatever you want. It's all you. It's all you. Whatever you love to use when you're doing your macro work.
Yeah. So as I said, like what I kind of like the most, and that also goes very well together with my YouTube channel, is that I like buy new lenses all the time and just try new ones, even though I have my favorites. But if I were to only keep one macro lens of all the ones that I've used, I actually have a few here on my desk that I wanted to show. Yay. So this is the Laowa 60mm 2x magnification macro lens. And this is probably my favorite all-round macro lens. And I have a few reasons for this. First of all, it is pretty small and lightweight. I like that a lot. I don't want to get tired in my arm when I'm out photographing, which I get with some of the heavier lenses. Also, it is not super expensive. It is around $400 new, which I think is reasonable. And also, I really love shooting at 2x magnification. Like most normal macro lenses that go from infinity to macro, they go only to 1x. But this one goes from infinity to 2x. And that is so much fun because there are so many different things I can use this lens for. And also, I have to mention something bad about it, and that is that it has quite a lot of distortion. So if you would try to use this for, architecture or Lego bricks or something, then it would not be that great. But as long as you're shooting insects or like flowers or leaves, like no one will notice that. So I really love this lens. I actually made a whole video about why I love it so much.
Yeah, I think I watched it.
So that, like, if I can only have one macro lens, that would be the one. And then I also want to show, this is also another lens from Laowa, and this is the 2.5 to 5x lens, which is, of course, a lot of fun if you want to do like high magnification microphotography. Yeah. And what I love about this lens is that it is very thin at the end. So when you're shooting something that sits on a surface, it is so much easier than with many other macro lenses to actually get a cool angle. For example, if you have an insect sitting here, you can really get it from the front, which is very hard with some other lenses. And also pretty affordable. I mean, the only competition to this one is the Canon MP65, and that one is more than double the price. So this is also a great purchase, I would say.
That's a lot of fun. Go ahead. What else do you love? Now, you're a Sony person. I know that, right?
Yeah, but I wouldn't really call myself a Sony person. It's not like I am religious about it. It's just that my main camera at the moment happens to be a Sony A7 III. And I mean, many people ask me like, oh, what is the best camera? What is the best lens? And I really, in one way, I hate answering that because it is like there are so many things that went into the decision of purchasing this camera. And if one of my needs would have been slightly different, I would maybe have bought a Canon or a Nikon camera, or maybe even a DSLR. But this camera represents like the ultimate combination of something that covers all my needs, which includes being able to shoot high resolution video with full frame coverage, and adapting many different lenses and so on. So I wouldn't say I'm a Sony person, but I like my Sony A7 III camera.
Yeah, they so when you in your videos that you have, I love that you also do video of macro close-up videos. Is that what you use then, that Sony?
Yeah. Most of my macro work I do on this camera, and I mean most of my photography is macro work. So
right.
I like trying a lot of different cameras as well.
Yeah. Oh, show us some of the. Oh, wait. You did. I don't know if you have it next to you, but I thought it was so cool. Macro photographers always, when it comes to light, always make their own
diffusers.
Do you have anything next to you or no? But
give me 10 seconds and I will show you a couple that I like.
Yes, I think it would be so awesome. I think people would love that if you don't mind.
Yeah,
because
sure.
You have some creative stuff.
Let me just go get them. Hang on.
Okay. I'll keep them occupied. Oh, so anyways, while he's getting his stuff, let me tell you, we'll show you his YouTube. But he's so creative, and he takes the time to make these diffusers for his lenses, and then he does hot shoes and all kinds of stuff. You're going to learn so much when you're watching his videos, but it'd be fun for you to see what he is sharing with you today. So yeah, I just had to tell them all how awesome you are, so creative with this stuff.
It's fun to experiment with different things. I try a lot of things that fail, but the things that kind of succeed, I end up showing in my YouTube videos. So there are a lot of behind the scenes stuff that you don't get to see. But my main diffuser that I absolutely love is this one. It's from a German, I think, brand called Dörr. And this is a fold-up diffuser that you can put over your lens. And it is so great because I can have it in my pocket, and it does the job perfectly. And I've used it so much, and it gives beautiful results. And a lot of people ask me where to get this, and I have no really good answers because it's sold by a Swedish company, but I'm not sure that this brand is sold in many other countries. There are similar ones on Amazon. You can search for like foldable diffuser, and you might be lucky enough to find similar ones.
Yeah, that's cool.
Before this one, I was actually the guy who inspired me to start with macro photography is Thomas Shahan. He's pretty if you search his name on YouTube, he has some really beautiful videos, and he used like a piece of paper, I think. So that was how I began, but this is much more practical. And then I want to show one more diffuser that it's very actually quite good, and that is this thing. It's a plastic lamp globe or dome, or how you say, and you can probably buy it in a hardware store. This is made for putting on top of a lamp, but I just put a normal speed light in it. And then you can, if you have a wireless speed light, you can have so much creative freedom to angle the light while you're shooting. So this is a really fun thing to try. I really recommend getting one. This is like $5.
Oh, that's awesome. Did you just tape it to the light?
Actually, I was lucky enough so I didn't even have to tape it. I was so lucky because my Godox TT685 flash, it fits perfectly. So I just do like this and put in the flash, and then it kind of sticks there. But otherwise, I would have taped it.
Oh, right. Oh, that's an awesome idea. It bounces it all around like a round ball.
Yeah.
Kind of like instead of the square thing. That's so cool. Well, you do the paper stuff too. So they'll watch your stuff. But you know what? I did see you with that one that sticks to the lens. And I said to myself, that is so cool. Now I wish I was an entrepreneur with stuff like that. I mean, that's what my husband and I always talk about. It's like to develop these things would be so cool, because there is a lot of issues when it comes to the macro photographer lighting systems. It's just so harsh and everything. But that's great. Yeah, awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us. So I wanted to ask you before we go into YouTube, because I do have to show everybody your YouTube stuff, but I wanted to ask you now, are you doing, well, I'll share that in a second. Let me just ask you this one. Do you have anything that you're working on for the future? Are you exploring new projects? What are you up to now? Are you're thinking about? Excuse me.
I actually like everyone is different, and one thing I've discovered about myself, and I discovered it a lot while I was writing my book, is that I like to do small projects. I like to do something that takes maybe 1 or a few days, and then get an end result and just be done with it. And that is why I love YouTube so much, because fits so perfectly. I do a small project, I make a video out of it, I publish the video, and then there is no way to edit it after it's published. So that's great. Then I can just move on and do the next thing. So I actually have a huge to-do list with ideas of projects to do. And if you're curious, I can show you actually my next next thing that I'm going to do the next time I have a free date for YouTube. Let's see.
Yay.
So
we get the inside scenes.
I asked my YouTube subscribers, what videos would you like to see? And one of the main wishes was a video where I try to do macro photography with a really old and cheap camera. So I went and bought this Nikon D80, which is, it cost me $50. So it's pretty cheap. It's 10 megapixels.
Oh, that's like my 5D. my original, yeah.
I hope I'm not insulting anyone now.
No.
Calling this an old and cheap camera, but compared to some of the latest ones.
I know.
So yeah. So and then I thought, if I have a cheap camera, I also want a cheap lens, and a macro lens is usually several $100s. So I got some extension tubes, almost for free on eBay, and also a reversing ring almost for free. And then I plan to combine that with an old Minolta vintage lens. So the whole setup will be under $100. And so my next project is to just put this together, go out, try to take some beautiful photographs with it, and document it in a YouTube video.
That's exciting, because some people just don't want to pay all the money for a macro at first, because they don't know if they're addicted to it.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is perfect for them to be able to play with that and see if they even want to go that route, So that's a great, that's going to be that's going to be really good for sure. Because I get a lot of people saying, I want to get closer, but I want to spend for the lens and, all that stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, I totally get that. I don't think you should spend huge amounts of money on something that you're not sure if you're going to use. It's better to start with something slightly not as good. And then if you discover that, I love macro photography, that is the time to buy a real setup, I think.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, I'm so excited that we got to see the behind the scenes. I'm going to get ready because I want to share two things. Mm-hmm. We'll end towards with your YouTube, but I wanted to share this. Let's go AD to Amazon. I wanted to ask you about this.
Yeah.
You wrote these 2 books.
Yeah.
And I think they're so cool. Can you, they're only Kindle. Can we buy them not in Kindle? Because I don't have a Kindle book.
Unfortunately, they are only on Kindle. So this was my big writing project. The first book, Habitual Happiness, is the one that I spent the most time on. I spent several months researching and writing it, and this is basically. I consider myself a pretty happy person. I've been over the past few years, but I've not always been happy. So I try to kind of analyze my process from unhappy to happy, and I discovered that it is all about me actually succeeding in implementing a lot of different habits. So I try to mix my own account with some of the current research on happiness, and I'm really interested in the subject of happiness, because to some extent that is and maybe should be the ultimate purpose in life, to be happy. I mean, what is anything worth if you're not happy? So yeah.
That's great though, because we're photographers, and you are talking about happiness, but that's why we're photographers too, to make us happy and to make others happy. So it's a really close subject, I feel. And I think even when you're not happy, a lot of photographers, to go into you've only been doing this for 3 years, you say only, and look at your stuff, it's amazing. So you're a very happy person for sure. But I want to say too, though, there is, I hear a lot of photographers doing this because they have things that they're not happy about. And so it helps them to be more motivated and happy with their life as they photograph. And that's why, I did this macro show, because there's so many other shows out there that I wanted a group of us, you, me, others, AD, and all the people that love to get up close, to have a place to understand that we all understand each other. So I love that you have that. And then also you have a book too, which is really cool, about going and being into your own business. So, I wanted to ask you real quick, because we've got like 5 minutes, but I do this we're going to go a little bit over, but I just want to ask you too, a lot of photographers want to do their own business, and you had said something, you wanted to do something to, pay to get money for, which is, it's logical. Why not? Yeah. So you say how to be a fool, to quit your job, start a new company without fear. This is the second one here that I wish I could read.
Actually, I think you could download a Kindle app for your smartphone, or if you have a tablet or something. Yeah, so I think it is possible. But the thing is, I discovered both that my books didn't sell that well, and that I would have needed maybe a big marketing budget, but also that I don't really enjoy writing books that much as I enjoy photography. So I kind of put the whole offer project on ice, and that is why they don't exist in any other form than Kindle right now.
Oh, okay. But I still think great subjects. I mean, maybe you didn't like it, but I think they might help people,
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
So what do you have to say just a little bit about this, how to be a fool? What is this concept of this book for people that maybe want to, what would your advice be?
I think, this book, if I were to summarize it briefly, it is about a lot of people, if not most people, they maybe have a job that they don't enjoy that much. They would rather be doing something else. Mm-hmm. And of course, it is a hard path to do your own thing and to try to make money doing what you love. That is really hard to get all the way there. And many people struggle with that. But what frustrates me is that so many people don't even try. They don't even give it a chance. And with this book, I try to inspire people to muster up some courage and to try to think what is the worst thing that could happen? Because when I quit my first job to start my e-commerce company, I struggled a lot with this. I was so afraid what could happen if I didn't have a steady income and so on. But then I started thinking what is really the worst thing that could happen? Well, the worst thing that could happen is that a year in, my money runs out and I have to apply for a job again. And then at least I have tried. I've tried to make something of my own. So I've basically the sentiment of this book is that more people should try to give their dreams a chance if they have dreams of doing something else.
Right. Oh, that's so great. That is so awesome. Thank you for that. And I'm going to see if I could try to figure that out Kindle thing on my iPhone.
Yeah.
Oh, so I want to end the show sharing everyone your YouTube. So this is your YouTube, and I just love what you do. And so when do you post every week? Is that what you do? Or I just subscribe to your email. I just did that today or yesterday. So I do see that, that you have, I see that you do it once a month. And
the email,
so it's like.
So the YouTube channel, my goal is to post every week, and I'm pretty good at that. But some weeks I maybe have some other stuff I need to take care of, and sometimes I do a lot of failed experiments that aren't interesting enough to make a video about. So sometimes I spend quite a few hours on something, and I discovered that this is not worth doing a video about. So, but most weeks I post something, and in the beginning I was so stressed. I was like, if I'm gonna be a good YouTuber, I need to post 3 times a week, because that is what the big ones do. But I think everyone has to find their own pace. It depends completely on what kind of videos you do and how much effort is needed to make them, and if we return to what we spoke about a few minutes ago about happiness, discovering how important happiness is and how much better life is if you're happy has changed me a lot. And now, before I focused only on success, whatever I didn't care about my own well-being. But now, I don't do anything unless I think it's fun and unless it makes me happy. And for me, it makes me most happy to post about a video a week. So that is what I'm doing, because then I feel I can stand behind my videos, and I feel proud of them and happy with what I do.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just noticed that I'm on my daughter's YouTube. I'm like, who's all these people? That's hilarious. Wait a minute. I don't know who these are. Oh my God, that's so funny. But these are great. I wanted to just say thank you so much for doing this for me and for many other photographers that love macro photography and want to just move forward. And the behind the scenes, you do such an excellent job on B-roll and moving things around and just really explaining things. And it's really nice. And thank you so much. And of course, I hate this. It's to the end already. This is how fast things happen. Really it does. It is such, I love this, the show. It's so much fun to chat with you guys, and I get to meet you in person, which is so much fun. And I want to thank you too. I didn't think you would actually say yes, to tell you the truth. But I am the type of person I'm going to ask anyways.
Yeah, you need to try, right?
Yes,
I think it was a lot of fun chatting with you, and I look forward to actually watching the old shows now that I know what it's about.
Yeah, and it is a lot of fun. You get to really learn the person within the work that each of you guys have done, and it's really inspiring to all of the people that watch the show. So I don't have tons of followers, but the followers that I have are very tight, and they watch all, they're really into the macro scene, and I do landscape too, but I really this is my baby is I just love macro photography. So with that said, I do have to tell everybody that unfortunately we have to end the show, but I will be here October 17th. This one's going to be October 3rd, but then I will be on by myself in the October. And if you like the show, give it a thumbs up. And you replayers, if you have questions, ask down below. And if I can't answer them, maybe I'll just give Michael a little email. So definitely let us know down below if you have any questions. And again, one more time, Michael, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
My pleasure.
Totally appreciate you. All right, everyone. Remember that your 1,000 words does make a difference. See you in 2 weeks. Cheers. Bye.